Greetings, friends. I want to start off by reading you a passage from Ethics of the Fathers, Pirkei Avos, which we read at this time of year. This is from the 3rd chapter, Mishnah 2. This is what it says. It's a famous Mishnah from Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Hanina, the deputy Kohen Gadol, says, pray for the welfare of the government, because if people did not fear it, a person would swallow his fellow alive. I think this is pretty relevant right now, to say the least. And I want to tell you some personal stories about police officers. They all happened to me. This is not something I heard from someone else. The first one is actually mentioned in my first book, From Central Park to Sinai, How I Found My Jewish Soul. It took place quite a few, maybe 30 years ago in Manhattan. I was driving in Midtown Manhattan right during rush hour. Those were the days when Manhattan was jammed with people. I can tell you exactly what street it was on. It was on 53rd Street between 5th and 6th Avenues. It probably was around 4:45 in the afternoon, maybe a little earlier. It was in the winter. I was going to pick up my father. We were going to go out to dinner together. And, in the winter, of course, the sun sets early. I was driving in the midst of rush hour traffic. And on those streets, they used to have signs, don't even think of parking here during rush hour. And it was right in the middle of rush hour. All of a sudden, I realized, I didn't daven mincha yet. I didn't pray the afternoon service yet. And the sun is going to set in a few minutes. What am I going to do? I had no choice. So I pulled over on this street where you're not allowed to pull over. And I got out of the car, and I was turning around to face east toward the land of Israel to pray. And just as I was about to begin, a police officer came up to me. What are you doing? Get your car out of here. What are you parking here for? You can't stop for 1 second here. Get moving. Oh, officer, I'm sorry, but I just realized that I hadn't prayed yet this afternoon. I have to pray before sundown. Pray? You have to pray? Why didn't you tell me? You take as long as you want. And don't forget, have me in your prayers. An incredible story. It happened to me. The second story, they're all amazing. It happened, I don't know, maybe 10 years after that. It was in Queens, Jamaica, Queens. I remember it was on Atlantic Avenue. It was the day before Rosh Hashanah. And I was driving to the cemetery to pray at my mother's grave before Rosh Hashanah. And I made some technical infraction. I made a left turn, and I was slightly in the wrong lane. And you had to be a lawyer to figure out that this was even wrong, but there was a cop just waiting for someone to do it. He'd probably been sitting there all day. And I remember very well, it was a black policeman, black officer. I see the lights flashing behind me. I pull over, and he comes over to the car. Whatever, you're not supposed to be in that lane. And okay, I was very friendly as always. And then And he said to me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the cemetery to pray at my mother's grave. It's the day before Rosh Hashanah. And all of a sudden, he became very emotional. I mean, he was even shaking a little. He said, when you go there, will you pray for me too? Oh, of course, officer. Okay, you go. Is this amazing? They all happened to me. Oh yeah, case number 3. This was 10 years after that. I had a real bad morning. My wife and I were on our way to Brooklyn. We were going through Far Rockaway, New York, and we had a very important meeting in Manhattan. We were about an hour late to this important meeting. Why? Because our boiler had just exploded and the basement was covered with water. So I accidentally, in Far Rockaway, I drove on a bicycle lane. Whoa, there was an unmarked car behind me. All of a sudden, lights and siren, he pulls me over. He gets out of the car, comes up. He looks at me. Are you having a bad day today? Must have been something on my face. Are you having a bad day today? You could say that again, officer. My boiler just blew up and the basement got flooded. Oh, wow. Okay, get out of here. That's story number 3. Listen to story number 4. This was a few years after that. My wife and I it was Friday afternoon, we were going for Shabbos to Lakewood, New Jersey. And we were stuck in rush hour traffic on a Friday afternoon on the Goethals Bridge in Staten Island going to New Jersey. It's a tremendous traffic jam. Nobody was moving. I mean, traffic was going 2 or 3 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, I see this sports car, like super revved up, thing that was like 4 inches from the ground. It was so low, one of these, super sports cars. And this guy is going like a maniac. He's cutting between cars. Nobody's moving, but he is moving. And he's cutting between cars and missing them by a quarter of an inch and going in, and unbelievable. You couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. He's crazy. I said to my wife, if I see a cop, I'm going to pull off the road. I'm going to tell that cop, did you see that guy? You got to get him. You got to get that guy. He's crazy. You know what happened? 3 minutes later, I see there's a cop sitting by the side of the road in his car. I pull off the road. I park in front of the cop. I walk back. The cop lowers his window. Yes. Officer, did you see that car? Did you see what he's doing? That guy was crazy. So he was a real funny guy. He looks at me, he says, did you just move to New York? Oh, what? I mean, officer, no, I lived here my whole life. But I know there are a lot of crazy guys, but this guy was really, yeah. So he says to me, listen, calm down, okay? You know how many guys like this I see every day. But he was crazy. And then he said to me a line which I'll never forget. He said, today, crazy is the norm. Whoa. He was the philosopher. He's right. And then we talked a few minutes, and I wanted to give him a blessing because I see he's such a special, wonderful person. So I said to him, officer, I want to give you a blessing. I give you a blessing that you should meet only nice people in your travels. So he looks at me and said, I met a really nice guy today. I said, yeah, who? You. I mean, this guy was something special. I want to tell you, we have to pray for the welfare of the government. We have to pray that all of God's children will be good to each other. And we should see Mashiach ben David, the Messiah, soon in our days, in a peaceful world that lives by the laws of God. Thank you.